Hello students, welcome to you all in your English class. Today I am going to explain 7th chapter of your Beehive book, that is packing. The packing is an extract from Jerome K. Jerome's novel Three Men in a Boat. This is a humorous extract about the confusion and mess created by people who are inexperienced in the art of packing. It exposes the utter clumsiness of the three friends, Jerome, George, and Harris. They consider themselves to be skilled in the art of packing, but in reality, all of them have little knowledge about working in an organized manner. Hence, to the great amusement of the reader, the small job of packing is carried out by them with many a jerk and jolt. This is the small introduction of the chapter. Now, I shall explain the chapter. I said I would pack. I rather pride myself on my packing. Packing is one of most many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. It surprises me myself sometimes how many such things there are. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. They fell into the suggestion with a readiness that had sometimes uncanny about it. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harris cocked his legs on the table. Here, the writer, Zero thought that his ability to pack luggage was better than others. He asked his friends, George and Harris, to leave the task of packing to him. The two friends agreed to his offer, instantly, which was strange. George sat comfortably on the easy chair and Harris bent his knees as he sat on the sofa and kept his feet on the table. This was hardly what I intended. What I had meant, of course, was that I should boss the job and that Harris and George should potter about under my directions. I pushing them aside every now and then with, "Oh, you, here, let me do it." There you are, simple enough, really, teaching them, as you might say. They are taking it in the way they did, irritated me. There is nothing does irritate me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I am working. Here, the poet means by saying that he would pick. The writer did not mean that his friends would sit and relax while he would do all the work. He had meant that he would boss upon them while they would do all the chores. He would nag them and curse them for not knowing the work well. And then he would chip in to start out the mess that they would create. He was irritated to see them sitting while he did all the work. Let's come to the paragraph third. I lived with a man once who used to make me make that way. He would loll on the sofa and watch me doing things by the hours together. He said it did him really good to look on at me messing about. Now, I am not really that. I can't sit still and see another man slaving and working. I want to get up and superintend and walk round with my hands in my pockets and tell him what to do. It is my energetic nature. I cannot help it. Here, Jerome recollects that once he lived with a man who would sit lazily on the sofa all day through and would watch the writer to do all the work. The man would say that he enjoyed watching him go around and doing all work. This would make the writer mad with anger. The writer says that he could not sit idle and watch others work like slaves. On the other hand, he liked to check their work, walk around, and with his hands in his pockets and direct them on how to do the work properly. He feels that as he was energetic, it was a part of his nature to behave in this manner. Let us come to the paragraph 4. However, I did not say anything but started the packing. It seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be. But I got the bag finished at last and I sat on it and strapped it. "Aren't you going to put the boots in?" said Harris. And I looked around and found I had forgotten them. That's just like Harris. He could not have said a word until I would go. The bag shut and strapped, of course. And George laughed. One of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild. Here, the writer means that he did not say anything to his friends and started packing. As he closed it, Harry said that he had forgotten to pack the boots. The writer felt that Harris could have reminded him before the hand closed the bag, but he thought that Harris was like that. This was followed by an irritating laugh by George, which made Jerome wild with anger. Let's come to the next paragraph. Paragraph number 5. I opened the bag and packed the boots in. And then, just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Had I packed my toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. My toothbrush is a thing that haunts me when I am traveling and makes my life misery. I dream that I haven't packed it and wake up in a cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. And in the morning, I pack it before I have used it and have to unpack again to get it. And it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag. And then I repack and forget it and have to rush upstairs for it at the last moment and carry it to the railway station, wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. Here, the writer means that while traveling, he always messes up with carrying his toothbrush. He has nightmare of not having packed it, wakes up in sweat and looks for it. In the morning, he packs it before using it, then unpack the bag to get the brush and uses it, as it is the last thing that comes out of the bag and he has to repack the bag. He forgets packing it again. At the last moment, he rushes to his room to get the brush and finally he wraps it in his handkerchief and carries it to the railway station in his hand. Let's come to the paragraph 6. Of course, I had to turn every mortal thing out. Now, and of course, I could not find it. I rummaged the things up into much the same state that they must have been before the world was created. And when chaos reigned, of course, I found George and Harry's brush 18 times over, but I couldn't find my own. I put the things back one by one and held everything up and shook it. Then I found it inside a boot. I repacked once more. As Jerome was looking for his toothbrush in his bag, he had to remove everything, but could not find it. He created a mess and found his friend's brushes many times, but could not find his brush. He kept everything back into the bag one by one, shaking each them, and finally found brush inside a boot. Then once again he repacked the bag. Paragraph 7. When I had finished, George asked if the soap was in. I said I didn't care a hang whether the soap was in or whether it wasn't, and I slammed the bag shut and strapped it, and found that I had packed my spectacles in it and had to reopen it. I got shut up finally at 5 minutes past 10 p.m. and then there reminded the hampers to do. Harry said that he would be wanting to start in less than 12 hours' time and thought that he and George had better do the rest. And I agreed and sat down and they had a go. Here, hampers means basket, used to carry food, utensils, etc. Now, when Jerome closed the bag, George asked if the soap was there inside it. As Jerome was impatient, he replied that he wasn't concerned if it was there or not, closed the bag and strapped the bag. Then he realized that he had packed his spectacles in it too and had to open it again to get them. Finally, the bag was closed at 5 minutes past 10. Then they had to pack the food baskets. Harry said that as they were left with less than 12 hours to live, they should pack the baskets as well. Harris decided that the food basket would be packed by him and George. Jerome agreed to take his turn for some rest while his friends packed the basket. That's all. Students, in my next videos, you will get the explanation of remaining chapter. Thank you.